At 3 a.m. on October 3rd, the lights of the Russian Orsk refinery flicker against the steppe. A sudden flash ruptures in the darkness. It's an inbound drone, low and fast and closing on the final kilometers. Its target is the sprawling complex that processes nearly 6 million tons of Russian crude oil each year. Pipelines that stretch from the southern Urals to the Volga basin. The Orsk refinery sits on the eastern edge of the Orenburg Oblast, less than 40 kilometers from the Kazakhstan border. Rail lines snake through the facility, linking it to the Samara-Orenburg trunk and onward to export terminals. A lattice of flare stacks and distillation towers make the skyline, which is a critical node in Russia's southern energy grid. On this night, the rivalry is very clear. It's Ukrainian drones versus Russia's oil grid. The Ukrainian drone, likely launched from hundreds of kilometers away, exploited gaps in Russian air defense coverage, pierces the refinery's infrastructure, igniting a fire in the crude distillation unit. Flames rise, visible for kilometers, as emergency crews scramble to contain the damage. But why does this matter now? Orsk is not just another refinery. Its output, which is diesel, gasoline, and aviation fuel, feeds both civilian markets and military logistics. And the facility's location, which is deep in Russia's rear, was once considered a safe zone buffered by distance and layered defenses. Now, that assumption is under direct challenge, because the drone's range, which is potentially over 600 kilometers, signals a shift in Ukraine's strike capability. Russian air defense units already stretched along the front in key cities must now cover a vast hinterland. There forces a redistribution of radar batteries, electronic warfare assets, and quick reaction teams. Meanwhile, the refinery's own defenses are limited, because industrial sites like the Orsk rely on perimeter security and, at best, short-range anti-drone systems. The layered S-300 and Panzer batteries prioritize urban centers and strategic bases, not energy infrastructure hundreds of kilometers away from the front line. That gap is now exposed. In 2022, Russian refineries like Orsk operated with minimal disruption, but by October 2023, at least a dozen facilities had been hit by drones or sabotage, with cumulative output losses exceeding 10% in some regions. So the contrast is very stark. Each successful strike compounds logistical headaches, forcing rerouting of crude oil, delays in fuel shipments, and costly repairs. So a refinery's fire is not just a local event. Pipelines feed into the Transneft network, which supplies both domestic and export markets. So any sustained outage ripples outwards, first to regional fuel depots, then to rail and road convoys supporting military operations. And that's why in a war of attrition, every lost barrel counts. Inside the refinery control room, alarms blare as pressure drops in the distillation column, isolate valves watching sensor readouts spike. And outside, the fire brigade battles a wall of flames, foam cannons arcing against the night sky. Put differently, the Orsk strike is a test of Russian resilience. And the main question remains, can Moscow shield its deep rear from persistent low-cost attacks from Ukraine? Or does each hit erode confidence in the security of critical infrastructure? Because for Ukraine, these strikes are asymmetric leverage, forcing Russia to spend more on defense, repairs, and internal security than the cost of a single drone. And again, this is not a moral judgment, it's an analysis of incentives and logistics. With that being said, Russia is still adapting. Mobile air defense teams now patrol refinery perimeters, and electronic warfare trucks jam GPS signals, hoping to throw off drone guidance. But the sheer scale, which is dozens of refineries and thousands of kilometers of pipelines, mean coverage is always partial and never complete. So now if we zoom out, the Orsk attack is a part of a broader campaign. Ukrainian strikes have reached as far as Tatarstan and Bashkortostan, probing the limits of Russian airspace control. Each new impact zone forces a recalculation, so where to allocate scarce interceptors and how to harden key nodes, and when to shift from passive defense to active counterstrikes. So by any measure, the calculus is changing dramatically, and what was once a sanctuary is now a contested zone. The Orsk refinery strike on October 3rd is not just a headline, it's a signal that the geography of risk has shifted and the rear is no longer immune. So if you've reached this far, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section below. My name is Messen and I would like to thank you for watching. I talk a lot about geopolitics and new military tech. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe for more. And again, don't forget to drop your comments in the comment section below.